Planning for your trip to Japan is already daunting enough without having to throw in hotel planning into the mix. Let me take you through the great hotels that I stayed at in Tokyo, Osaka and Kyoto so you get some inspiration for your upcoming big trip. The main hotel we stayed at in Tokyo was the Mitsui Garden Hotel in Gotanda. I know this hotel has several branches across Tokyo and Japan, but the Gotanda branch was one that popped up as great value for money in a location we were comfortable with. It is worth noting that whilst the hotel isn't in a super central location, the hotel was just a couple of minutes walk from the Yamanote line, which basically travels around Tokyo in a big circle, making it really convenient for transfers and getting around the city. So traveling to somewhere like Shibuya will take you 13 minutes or Shinjuku 20, but if you wanted to go to somewhere like Asakusa, you're looking at about 40 minutes, which makes sense because it's on the other side of Tokyo. All of the hotels that we booked, except for one, were all 4 stars, but across the board we found that there was a standard amount of amenities available from all the hotels. So it's pretty normal to go to the hotel lobby and see things like cotton buds, combs, body sponges available to pick up and grab, and even some of them also had washing machines if you needed to wash your clothes as well. Because all of the hotels had these amenities, this is something I believe to be perhaps a Japanese standard and not an exception. So let's talk about the room. We ended up booking a standard with 2 beds, and to be very frank with you, we were super worried about the size because we'd heard so much about how small Tokyo hotel rooms were. However, we were pleasantly surprised by 1, how well kept the room was, and 2, just how much space we did have. Now, I'm not saying that it was a ginormous hotel room, but we were expecting a shoebox. This size room was just right for 2 people who had brought 2 large suitcases, a couple of hand luggages, and some bags, plus all of the additional shopping that we did as well. I'd like to highlight the fact that there was a convenience store at the bottom of this hotel, and the hotel had its own dedicated entrance to the convenience store, which is very handy if there was ever a time you needed to go late in the night to grab something. If you really couldn't be bothered to head down to the convenience store, the hotel had its own vending machines. So these were located on the same floor that you'd find the spa. So in this room you had microwaves, you also had recycling, which is very handy when you've been carrying around your trash all day. But you'd find beers, waters, drinks, and ice cream here as well. So in a pinch, you had options. We didn't get to use the public bath during our time at this hotel, but for those of you who have tattoos, you'll be happy to know that these baths are tattoo friendly. The hotel's restaurant is an Italian restaurant. We only had breakfast here. I would probably say this isn't my favourite hotel breakfast I've ever had. I did find that there weren't very many options, but I think it was sufficient for what I like to have. At some point in your travels, you're gonna need a bit of a respite from your travel buddy. This is where Hotel Forza came in for us, and the main reason why we chose it was because we found it to be so inexpensive. We were able to book 2 separate rooms for 2 nights for each of us, so we managed to get that little bit of a break from each other during this trip, which was well needed. I have to be so very honest, we took a massive leap of faith with this hotel room because we couldn't quite understand why it was so inexpensive. Now, the reason why I say this was a leap of faith is because we were expecting a very, very, very tiny room, but I was pleasantly surprised because I found this room to be very comfortable for one person. Now, if 2 people were sharing with 2 big luggages, I don't know if that would quite work out. We used a luggage forwarding service from the Tokyo hotel to send our luggages ahead of us to Kyoto. So this was something that we actually factored into when booking this room because we knew we were only here for such a short time. Just a quick aside, because we were so strategic with our luggage forwarding, we didn't have to navigate the Shinkansen with any large luggage, which when you're traveling to multiple cities is such a big relief. I have very few complaints about this room. I love that it came with a massager, which was very random, and it also had a blackout blind, which if you're like me, I really need to sleep in pitch black to be able to fall asleep, so I really appreciated that. But I did not like that the bed was really soft, so I did find that my back did hurt a little bit, and so that was my one issue with the room. After staying at what felt like more compact hotels, walking into this hotel room felt palatial. I think our shock came from the fact that had this hotel been in Tokyo, this size of room would have been way out of our budget. So suffice to say, Hotel Nohga was probably our favourite hotel that we booked throughout this whole trip, and it's one that I will definitely try to visit again if I do find myself back in Kyoto. Something to note is that the closest convenience store to this hotel is at the very end of the street it sits on. There are a couple that are next to each other, and it's about a 6 or 7 minute walk. There are many hotels in the area, so it means that these convenience stores tend to get very, very busy. The hotel just feels like a lot of attention to detail has been put in, from the minimalist and clean design to their eco-friendly sustainability ethos. It gives it the vibe of a higher end boutique hotel. For city breaks, I personally find I don't utilise the hotel amenities anywhere near enough. With us being up early and out the whole day, we didn't get a chance to truly enjoy this hotel to its full potential. And last but certainly by no means least, we have the Premier Hotel Cabin Presidential, quite a mouthful to say. This hotel was in the running to be our main Tokyo hotel. We loved how modern and new it looked. It's only a couple years old, but what we didn't love was how industrial the area looked. We wanted to feel like we were in Tokyo. And then there was the transportation. There seemed to be a heavy reliance on the bus to get to a train station. I just personally find trains to be a little bit more reliable. We still really liked it, so we booked it for the one night we needed to be back in Tokyo to get our flight home. After staying here, we thought getting around wasn't as bad as we had initially assumed it would be. The bus will get you to Ginza in about 15 minutes, so it's pretty easy to get more central. But as we were only there for one night, I can't say what it would be like if we stayed there for 5 or 6 days and having to rely on the bus. I personally love a good breakfast, and I would say that I love the variety of the breakfast at this hotel, so if you can, I do recommend adding the breakfast to your booking. So those are all the hotels that I booked for my trip to Japan. Let me know if you're planning on booking any of those or if you've stayed at any of them already, and I'll speak to you guys in my next video.